What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know we get it in, right? But before I do, let's hit that like and subscribe button, put the notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support. So let's talk about some real shit, man. You know, I do my content every day and I get good feedback. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions and they appreciate the value of what I'm putting out there. And I try to do the most. I try to do the best that I can for the gente, telling stories, telling my stories, doing profiles, reaction videos, whatever the case may be, man. I try to give you a little bit of everything so that way you're entertained. So that way, man, you have a better day than the day you had yesterday. Or maybe it isn't a better day. One never knows, does one, but I do the best that I can. But one of the subscribers asked me a question. And he said, Gun, man, I need your advice. What do you tell your kids when they finally ask you that one question, the most serious conversation that you need to have? No, not about the birds and the bees and all that stuff, man. Nowadays, they're going to learn that shit on TikTok, right? But how do you tell your young kid about you being in prison, why you went to prison? What were the circumstances that led up to it? Most people as parents, even us as ex-convicts, ex-gang members or current gang members or whatever you may be, we all want our children to be in a better position than we put ourselves in. We all want our children to do better than we did. But at the same time, it's hard to be that role model and it's hard to tell them, to stay straight and narrow, to do good when you don't have nothing to show for but a whole lot of bullshit for what you did. It's kind of like being a hypocrite, trying to tell your children, hey, man, don't put yourselves in the position I put myself in, but you're not showing them nothing. As an ex-convict, I thought I knew the shit. I thought I knew the way, man. There wasn't no one that could tell me one damn thing, period. And my life was mapped out for me. If the older homie didn't do it, my tios giving me the game, then what I seen, my environment, told me everything I needed to know. I didn't need to go to school, man. They couldn't give me the knowledge I couldn't get in college. There was nothing there for me, I felt, when everything was there. My whole outlook on life was I'm going to achieve status on a certain level within my gang and my group, my organization. And then there was nothing after that. See, I wasn't one of those people to plan ahead. I just took the days as they came. And that's how that's how I was taught. You only have one life to live and you can only live one day at a time. Yeah, but there's a lot of other days perhaps coming after that. And it's always been better. The better thing to do was to prepare. Stay prepared. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I made a lot of twists and turns in my life and I found myself incarcerated because I was guilty. Because I was guilty of being a menace to society. Because I was guilty of going out there, gente, and thinking I was bad. I was Billy Badass. I was the one. I was going out there tearing shit up, man. I was gang banging on the next level. I was trying to prove not only to myself that I was down, but to my homeboys. I had a certain persona and a mask that I put on. The real me, the true me, just wanted to kick it at home and play Nintendo and be with my siblings and do the mama's boy thing. But I had a certain image that I had to uphold. See, once you do something and you're recognized by the gang or a group or the streets, now you're certified in the streets. You're verified, right? You laid the demo down. So now you have to continue that, if not improve upon it, right? And we all know it's bad shit. We all know going out there gang banging, man, trying to get at the enemy, trying to make a name for yourself. People are like, hey, your reputation is all you have, your word, respect. But the only way it seemed to gain that respect and that reputation was to hurt someone that looked just like me, to hurt another brown man, to tear our own people up from the inside out. But I continued down that path because, in my mind, the way I was raised, the way I was taught was you don't gain your respect by just being a cool guy. You gain your respect by fear, by having people fear the unknown. So you always keep people on your toes. And I did that, and from a young age, they sat my ass right down quick, went to the youth authority, got out, thought I was bad. I thought I was even badder. All the youth authority did was, all it did was show me how to take a punch, right? prepare myself for a deeper level, for the next level of gangbanging. And I got out with that mentality. Instead of trying to do better and trying to better myself and become a more cool human being and a better human being and nice to other people, I tore more people down. It seemed like everyone that came around me, I tore their life apart. And I started to realize as I got older that I was the problem. And it wasn't just me, it was my mentality and the way I was thinking. There was nothing going right for me because I wasn't doing right. I had come to an understanding with myself that if you do right, then you're going to get the right results. If you keep going left, you're going to go in circles. So maybe you got to take a right and see what's down that road. So later on in life, a whole lot later, I did that. But in the meantime, in between time, I was having children. Such as life. It's what we do in the hood, the Vaudou on the streets, right? We pay no attention to that bedroom until it's time to handle business, right? But then circumstances, man, things happen. You have children. And now you have to slow your roll. Now you have to understand that it's just not your life that you're in charge of anymore. Now there's kids, man. There's human beings that are looking towards you to eat. I got a lot of homeboys that roll around town, active gang members, man, still with the business, but don't have one fucking dollar in their pocket. So what happens if their kid is hungry? What are they going to feed them? Food stamps done ran out, It's just the way it is. They only last and they only go so long, especially when your old lady's fucking old man is over there eating everything in the house. So it's a hard game, when you have to ask yourself and tell yourself, yeah, you could be in the mix. Yeah, you could be about the business. But to become a man, to become a true man or a woman or whatever the fuck you are, right? You have to understand that once you have kids, your life changes. It's no longer yours. It don't belong to you no more. It's theirs. You belong to them. You're their parent. Okay, so the hardest conversation I ever had, and this guy asked me the question, the subscriber, he said, hey, how do you tell him? You just tell him, man. It's a delicate situation. I remember, when my daughter started kindergarten and then, she started to go up through the grades. I remember she didn't want me to drop her off anymore. She didn't want me to hold her hand. And, she was growing up. She didn't want me to walk her to her class. And I thought it was odd because I was seeing a lot of the other parents do it. I was trying to get in where I fit in, man. I understand I'm all tatted down. I understand I have a certain swag and a certain look to myself that maybe people would be ashamed of. But this is me, homie. I can't change who I am. I could try to become a productive member of society and make better choices, but I can never forget about my past and my historia. I can never forget about my culture. I'm always going to be the way I am. I'm set in stone, homie. It's etched there. This ain't etch-a-sketch. You can't shake it, homie, and it disappears. This is the real deal. This is pura, right? It's just me. But I started to notice that my kid didn't want to be around me. So I asked her, well, what's going on? Because a good parent, a great parent, becomes involved. Conversation, ask questions. When your kid gets home from school, don't just let him throw the fucking backpack and go jump on the PlayStation. Check that backpack. See what's up in there, man. Make sure if they ain't got homework, they got to get on that shit. There's certain things you have to do. I guess everybody parents differently. I guess everybody, there's a lot of lazy parents. People that are lazy, they're like, fuck it, humps. Whatever. I didn't do my homework. And look where you're at. Your lazy ass is sitting there playing PlayStation 5, trying to borrow money from me so you can get the new Madden game. It ain't going to happen, homie. Become involved. So, I asked my daughter, what's the problem? And she says, I'm ashamed of your tattoos. Where did you get your tattoos? And, and at that time she was still young and I didn't want to get into a deep conversation. And I didn't think she was ready to understand the story about, the youth authority and what I did when I was younger and then going to prison in and out and making the wrong choices and sacrifices and going through a struggle and being a gang member. And, she still to this day can't comprehend some of this shit. So I kind of just said, oh, I like tattoos. I kind of pawned the conversation off to later on when she got older. I took the initiative as a parent to sit down and kind of dispel some of her qualms about me. Some of her apprehension about her father, and I explained to her about prison and about how I became involved in gangs and how that's all I seen. And I made some wrong choices and some right choices. But my choices ultimately ended me up in making better decisions. See, I would never change anything. Everything that I've done in life, my whole history, everything that I've been through, active to non-active, man, has paved the way to make me the man I am, to give me the mental capacity to be able to deal with and handle certain situations. You know, if I never knew the streets and I never was involved with gangs and stuff, then I would be dumb to the streets. I wouldn't know what's up. I wouldn't know if someone's plotting or planning. I wouldn't be able to see through the thick of the fog. I would just be one of those fucking lummy dummy dudes on the corner trying to act like the world's all crimson and clover, homie, like they want to turn the frown upside down. But hey, homie, you ain't a Bobby McFerrin song. Don't worry. Be happy. This ain't that type of world. This is a world of preparation. You have to prepare. There's a lot of bad shit going on. And the only way that I could give the game to my children so that the way that they're aware and they do better is to have known that. So I'm glad and I'm thankful for everything that I went through. If I didn't go through a lot of the hardships and the struggles, then I wouldn't understand what it feels like to be locked up by yourself, 23-1, sitting in a fucking holding cell, you know, going through those drunk tanks, smelling shit and caca and dudes vomiting in the corner and just so many things that I seen, you know, during my incarceration or, you know, doing pegadas, blood all over your hands, blood all over your face, getting battery packed, hit with bars of soap. You know, a lot of these things that I went through, my war stories, a lot of the things that I lived, you know, I would never wish that upon anyone, not necessarily my kids, but anybody. But the only way that I could detour them from that and tell them to get away from that is having known what it feels like. So the conversation went like this. Hardest conversation I ever had. Once I told my daughter about all these things, she took a second look at me and said, "Why were you a monster? Why were you a bad guy?" And I said, because it's very easy to be bad, and I was lazy. I would much rather do the bad things because it was easier to do them than the good things. See, the good things takes hard work. That's called putting in work. That's where real gang, you know, we're a real respected individual that puts in work, putting in work. The guys that I respect, the heroes in my life, are the ones that get up early in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, put on them Red Wing boots, homie, and go to work. Toil in that soil for their families. Not the ones that lay on the couch till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, get up and try to plot and plan how they're going to rob their own homeboy. That never worked. See, I did all that, and it never worked out for me. I had nothing to show for it. Hard dick bubble gum, homies, and my shit still gets hard. That's all I had. We ran out of bubble gum a long time ago. So having that conversation, it made me have a closer bond with my child because now my child is aware of some of the hardships that I went through. It's a hard thing to explain to your kids, man, you know, about gangs when you're trying to keep them away from that life. See, nobody wants to expose their children. And those that do expose their children, I understand there's different circumstances for different people. Some kids are generational. They just grow up like that. They have no chance. Now, I did that reaction video on Gunners Collective TV yesterday about Midget and Woody and, of course, little Chucky, rest in peace. And you've seen that these guys had no chance. You've seen that these guys were placed in a place of poverty, man, where everything around them was crumbling, where putting in work was what gained you that reputation. Well, see, I come from that same era. I come from that, from not having too much, having a whole lot of little, and having to understand that if we didn't go out there and get it, we couldn't eat sometimes. That's just what it is. See, the kids nowadays are spoiled and they're different. Nowadays, we don't have to worry about, you know, if our kids are out at night and they're going to get shot because we can't let them out because there's so many chirujos and weirdos stealing children and trafficking them that we have to keep our kids locked inside like they're in the hole. See, what you don't understand is our kids are doing time. It's a trip, right? Our whole lives, any of us that are ex-convicts, our whole lives were built around doing things to get placed in prison and then trying to fight our way out. Well, now our kids are inside and they're trapped. They're trapped in their homes and they're trapped right there on that tablet or that phone. It's got them hypnotized. So you need to sit down as a respectable adult and talk to your kids. So for the guy that asked me the question, how do you do it? You just do it, bro. You sit down in a chair, preferably, you know, and you have that conversation. Now, everybody's life is different. The way that you approach your kid, because every kid is different, man. Some are just serio. Mine is super serio. She wants to know what time it is. No sugarcoating, Dad. Don't bullshit me. Don't lie to me, right? Just tell me straight up. And the fact of the matter is, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Now, I've always been taught that if you do something that you're embarrassed of, then you should have never did it in the first place. If you can't voice that or answer that question and it makes you feel the hairs on the back of your fucking neck stand up and you're embarrassed, then you fucked up. You did something you knew was wrong from the gate. Now, when I was young in the era I come from, we made a lot of bad choices and a lot of mistakes, man, because a lot of us didn't have our parents there to tell us. And those of us that did, man, you were blessed. And still, some of you babosos made mistakes, right? It was just part of the game. We come from a different era of it's never too late, right? We come from that era. Yeah, I can fuck up, go to jail. It's never too late. I'll be all right. You know, nowadays they don't get that comfort. Nowadays it's one and done. They catch a pegada or body or something, done forever. See you later. You know, it's a rough life. It's a rough life. So at the end of the day, man, for the homie that asked me the question, the subscriber, I hope I answered your question. You sit down and you tell them the real. You know, that's the only way to expose them to what type of individual you truly are. When you're trying to hide your past and your history from your child, then your child's never really going to know you. And then later on, they're not going to respect you as much as they would have if you're real. You know, all these tattoos that I got are symbolizations of a life that I once lived. You know, these were part of the streets. This was that look. I didn't get them because I thought they made me look cool. I got them because along the times, man, you know, I went to prison. I was bored out of boredom. Some of them are symbolizations earned. Some of them are, you know, females' names, homies' names, you know, rest in peace. A lot of them gang things. Everything is there for a reason. And I'm not going to erase it or cover it or whatever. It is what it is, man. You know, I sometimes I run out of room and I try to make room. But other than that, I'm not going to, you know, erase my past. My past is my past. For the parents that think, you know, they could sugarcoat shit and hide, you know, what they were to your kids, man. In order to be a proper parent and to be a real one, you need to explain to them and then shield them. Let them know the reasons you're no longer part of that or you are part of it. Because this goes out to the active homies too, the gente. You know, even if you're still functioning, man, and you're still doing wrong. You know, I got a homeboy, man. Every time I go to his pad, his kids are in the room, you know, all fucked off and he's smoking and just it's just all bad, right? And I feel bad. I let him know, hey, homie, you know, what are you doing? I'm fucking up. Hey, I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up. Yeah, you're fucking up. When you get to the point that you know and you tell yourself you're fucking up, it's already too late. Anyways, man, I hope I gave the game to the homie. There's some knowledge you can't get in college. I'm just being real. You know, how do you answer that one conversation? It was a bad conversation for me. It was hard. And in the end, it worked out quite well because now I'm respected just that much more. Now my daughter's not scared, you know, to be proud of her father because, you know, you have to overcome hurdles in life. That's what makes you the person you are. If you're able to dust yourself off and try again, you know, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people fall in the mud and just stick there. That's it. Not me. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, man. Just a little game, a little something different. It is what it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in, man. And that's giving you guys the righteous entertainment and the righteous game. Gracias. I appreciate you, man.